Good evening, educators and participants. Welcome to the panel discussion on what next for education technology in schools. COVID has made it possible what progress we could have made in a decade, but things are not as bright as we are thinking. Teachers, parents, stakeholders, everyone is reporting a skill gap, social emotional learning, and whatnot in the child development. Our focus of today's discussion is to brainstorm on how to leverage technology in education for the child betterment and what are the resolutions. Joining me today are my esteemed panelists. I hearty welcome to each one of you, Dr. Ritu Dewan. She is the from Dayawati Modi Academy. Dr. Nandita Kathuria, she's principal from Euro International School, Gurugram. Mr. Vinay Dubey, Dean Academics, Mount Litera School, Z School. Miss Arti Chopra, she's the principal, our own Amity International School, Sector 46, Gurugram. Dr. Moupali Mittra, she's the principal, MDN School, Rohtak, and I'm your host for the day, moderating this session. I welcome each one of our own panelists. Great. So starting the discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Sachin. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. So starting the discussion with Ritu ma'am, with you, what new initiatives you have taken, for the digital transformation in your schools, since now we are seeing students are coming back to schools, they're moving back to schools. Do you think this is sustainable? Please unmute. Unmute.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to interact with such elite people in the same field, education. And thank you for your wonderful introduction. Yes, we have digitally transformed because of the pandemic, and we have actually taken 100 steps, which should have been taken in the time when we thought of taking only 10 steps, only because COVID-19 accelerated everything. At the time of COVID-19, yes, the things that we did were in a hurried manner. Teacher training was the first thing that we needed to do. And teacher training was also required because teachers were not very adept in reaching the doorstep of the student. Mostly the students were coming to the schools, and now the teachers had to reach each and every bedroom and the drawing room. And that is why the training was accelerated at school itself. Besides the internet connectivity that was provided, we also provided laptops and tabs to the teachers. And the training in all platforms like Google, Zoom, Cisco, WebEx, all were conducted in a hurried manner. And then we tried to create uh, a kind of a system where we call it Guru system, where we had impaneled everybody along with the children and gave them unique IDs. And from there, we started our lessons. Earlier, the lessons were just one way. And then slowly and gradually, we brought the systems on board and children started interacting. And we had a lot of quizzes, a lot of mathematical activities. And then we started our assessments. Assessments were a little challenge in the beginning because assessment had to be MCQ based, they had to be subjective. At the same time, Google Forms were introduced. So in a manner when we had to actually brought in a lot of things together on one platform, and everybody knew that they're doing something, but it had to be result oriented. So when we started getting the results, they needed to be monitored. Yes, digitally, we have done a lot of things after that. We started with augmented reality. Now we also started with VR technology. These are certain initiatives we took after a gradual pace of having technology introduced and integrated in learning. Children now have access to recorded lessons. Children now have access to a lot of assignments, and children are doing a lot of gamification in learning. And because of that, they try and participate again and again in the same lesson, same activity to double their score. And that has added the fun part to the learning. We have smart classes, yes, but we also began with smart teachers. We had a lot of pens and chalk and talk, and then we came back to pen drives rather than pens, and then a lot of ppts were generated. But what is the fun part is now children have taken over. They are empowered, and they are the ones who are happy to find answers for the teacher who has taken a back seat deliberately, understanding that when the child gets the answer from a different platform, he becomes very happy and he tries to flaunt that answer. And that makes him very motivated, very encouraged. So, when we talk of digital well being, we are more interested in bringing technology into all systems. We have also brought in an ERP where we use tracking, we use the GPS system. We also have a lot of softwares, as we call them, for attendance, for bus monitoring, for our student records. All this has suddenly come in and has become the order of the day. So when we integrated technology, we also have started with LXP. LXP is a learning experiential platform, which is a very, very interesting platform because it curates learning. It tells us how to go for the brighter ones and how to come down to the ones who are slight low learners. And these slow learners are being helped a lot because of the LXP platform. We are still experimenting with it. I do not boast of being an IT professional, but yes, being ahead, I need to know everything in technology that needs to come into the school and how to make the best of it. We have started holiday classes. And as your second part of the question, I would like to deal with, because I do not want to take a lot of time for the first question itself. There are many panelists waiting. The technology is going to stay. It is the order of the day. We are not going to get rid of it, nor are we going to discourage the children. We will only make them a little more responsible. We are becoming very blended and hybrid in the mode of learning and teaching. And that is why we feel that any and every assignment that we give has a base, which is technology. Like we give a video to shoot. The script is written in the classroom now since the children have started coming to the class. Everybody sits together and writes the script, but each one goes and shoots his video in his own way, and then they come and showcase it. So here comes the reflection. Then there are discussions on that video, the theme, at the same time, the technology that is used. And children come up with innovative ideas. Children come up with great solutions. For example, we just did a small brainstorming on how to actually work on smaller problems like traffic pollution. So children did make a lot of innovative solutions and videos. And one girl, she brought a small car model where the roof of the car was a terrace garden. And she says when there's a traffic jam and these all the plants on the cars, they are really going to help to remove the pollution that is there in a traffic jam. A very small solution, but the children really do wonders when they are given the freedom, and they are given the freedom to explore both physical and technological mode. So I feel technology is here to stay. Thank
Perfect.
you.
And I really like the point when you mentioned about the lectures are being recorded and they are the student can see it after it onwards. I think that would be the best advantage that they can take even if the classes are misses or for some or other reasons. Wonderful. Moving to Arti ma'am, one part is digital transformation. I would like to have a brief thought on this also, and the most importantly would like to understand then is there will be shift in the competencies also to make the effective use of e-learning. What are your thoughts, ma'am?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. Feeling very privileged to be part of this panel. I hope I am audible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as far as the competencies are concerned, I think before that you asked about the digital transformation. As we all can see, the COVID times have brought in a massive change in the way we learn and in the way we teach. And there are good things about it, which are definitely going to stay once we fortunately will be out of this pandemic situation. So the digital transformation has provided a digital eye not only to the teachers, but also to the students. It has brought a paradigm shift in the way people think and in the way they prepare their lessons, in the way they organize their plan and organize themselves during the day. The expectations of the teachers from themselves have changed. They have started they have started expressing concerns about, notching up their levels as far as the digital stimulations are concerned, as well as, there is a different kind of bonding between the teachers and students, where the students have come forward. And now teacher is no longer, the teacher who is always teaching. Rather, they have become co-learners, and many of the projects they are designing together in a collaborative mode. So the digital transformation has brought about massive change and narrowed down the gap between the teachers and students, and they all have become co-facilitators and co-learners in this era of knowledge revolution. As far as the competencies that the students must acquire for the e-learning, it is important that everyone understands that creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship is there to stay. Creativity, the highest level of Bloom's taxonomy, coupled with innovation, and having each and every child not only thinking in terms of innovating a product, but also thinking in terms of marketing it, presenting it, pitching his or her idea in front of others, is also something that has got added to the learning of 21st century learners. As you can see in schools like ours, and I'm sure all of you, we've got children who are coming up with patents. There are children, schools like ours, we have Atal Tinkering Lab provided by Niti Aayog. We are having innovation hubs where the teachers and students are working together. We have recently won many awards, like some of our students have been adjudged as Tinkerpreneur of the Year. They have won the awards in Toykathon, where, the vision of a prime minister, let the Indian children make their own toys. And also we have things like power empowerment programs in schools like ours, where we do things like youth power, where the children are coming up with innovative strategies to save the society. The second most important competency is communication, which was maybe earlier only verbal, but it is also written and even non-verbal. All kinds of communication children have to have, an ace over it. They must learn how to communicate very, very effectively. Critical thinking component. We are blessed to have a board like CBSE that has incorporated in so many ways the MCQ type of questions, which are part and parcel of the board exams. In fact, the complete board exam of the first term is based on MCQ pattern. So the children are really learning, basically the 7 categories of learning styles, be it visual, oral, that is sound patterns, verbal, social, logical, or, solitary learning. In all forms, critical thinking is utilized and children are learning. Collaboration with their peer groups, even, you can see that Nobel Awards are given these days in collaboration. So the character building is again another important competency, which is important because children need to take onus for the comments they write on the social networks, as well as any digital footprint they leave in any of the space that they utilize, their character is reflected. Another important competency that children must have is the culture and ethical citizenship. That is identifying their social presence once again, which is going to, help give them a long-lasting impact on their persona. The computer and digital technologies, which includes computing, internet skills, having knowledge of learning management systems, etc., are again important. Another important competency is having strong research and resourcefulness. They must have, an eye for detail and must have an acumen to find out facts, not just believe a statement which is given anywhere in the text. The self-direction that the children must have and self-reflection is another competency which is extremely important. Time management skills are important because children have to understand that their efficiency, which is improved looking at the system, added to their earlier acumen, should become a part of their daily habit. Therefore, all these competencies are very, very important. And most important one is the sustainability competency. The children must understand that each and every product, the time, the space that they're using, if they're traveling from one place to another, the carbon footprint that they're leaving, they must utilize the resources in such a way so that there is no wastage. There should be reusing and recycling of things, and our earth must remain green. I hope I have not stretched too much from the time. Thank you so much, Sachin sir.
This is great, and I would like to, in fact, to deliberate more on the discussions around sustainability. If the time allows, I would like to discuss this important point with the other panelists as well. But having said now, let's move on to the conversation with Vinay sir. So once said, these are the competencies that's been effective for the e-learning. So now, according to you, what are the strategies we can have to have the effective e-classroom, or maybe the physical one? Now we are moving on when students are coming, shifting from the e-concept to physical. What are your thoughts? Please unmute, sir.
First of all, very good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Professor Vinay Dubey from IIT Delhi. Just like technology for better classroom controls, overplan your lessons to ensure you fill the period with learning activities. Come to class prepared, show confidence in your teaching styles, learn students' names as quickly as possible, just like of terms, and allocate as a time. Just like जैसे आरती मैम ने एक्सप्लेन किया कि बच्चे को एमसीक्यू के साथ साथ एक्सप्लेन जैसा कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशंस में होता है, जैसे एनडीए जेई नीट्स की प्रिपरेशंस के लिए बच्चे को एक अलग फिनोमेना और उनके साथ जो बिहेव हो वो जस्ट लाइक ऑफ एज ए फ्रेंडली इन्वायरमेंट्स मिले. तो जस्ट लाइक ऑफ एज ए classroom times के लिए allocated time at the being time periods, you just engage the learning activities and transition times, just like our getting students assembled and attentive assignments reading and assignment reading, just like our DPP daily practice papers and doubt discussions. This is the more things कि और इनके जो गोल हो, इनको गोल फिक्स हो, बच्चे का जो गोल हो, increase the variety of learning activities but decrease transition times. Student engagement and on task behavior are dependent on how smoothly and efficiently teachers move from one learning activity to another. Witness refers to a teacher's awareness of what is going on in the classrooms. My at last points, just like of study of task behavior. 99% of task behavior take one of several forms: taking out of turn, cloning, daydreaming, moving about without permissions.
Right.
Antisocial, dangerous behaviors makes up a fractions of the time students spend off task. And body language, this is the most part of teachers body language कि बच्चे के साथ आप स्टूडेंट्स जैसे जस्ट लाइक ऑफ हम लोग कोचिंग फील्ड्स में हैं, तो अप्रोक्सीमेटली कोचिंग में हमने एक चीज देखा है कि बच्चे के साथ आप बच्चे को जस्ट लाइक आप एक गोल फिक्स कर देते हैं, उनका विजन और मिशन अगर फिक्स रहता है तो बच्चा 100% मतलब सिलेक्शन देता है। जस्ट लाइक ऑफ IITs में मेरा एक स्टूडेंट था विकास, 2015 में उसके जो 10th में परसेंटेज थे अप्रोक्सीमेटली 52% थे, लेकिन 11th में आने के बाद उसको कुछ फील नहीं हो रहा था। तो उस समय मैं PCP सीकर में एज ए कोचिंग फैकल्टी एज एकेडमिक डीन के टर्म पे था। तो बच्चे से मैंने पर्सनली बोला कि व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम, क्या आपकी प्रॉब्लम है, आपको क्यों नहीं कहें सर। सबसे ज़्यादा इश्यूज होता है कि मैं जब भी पढ़ता हूँ तो मुझे मेरी पढ़ने के बाद मन ही विचलित हो जाता है। तो मैंने वो चीज़ें इस पैंडेमिक सेशन में भी मैंने ये चीज़ गौर किया बच्चों के साथ। तो मैंने कहा कि आप अपने लाइफ में फर्स्ट अपना एम फिक्स करो, कहें सर मेरे को IITian बनना है और फर्स्ट रैंक पाना है। फर्स्ट रैंक पाने के लिए आप क्या करोगे? तो फर्स्ट रैंक करने के लिए मिनिमम कितने घंटे पढ़ना चाहिए? सर 4 आवर्स। मैंने कहा आप कितने घंटे पढ़ रहे हो? सर 1 आवर्स। 1 आवर्स और 4 आवर्स में काफ़ी डिफरेंट है। मैंने कहा समझ में आता है? नहीं सर समझ में नहीं आता। तो मैंने ये स्पेशली मैथमेटिक्स के लिए मैंने उनको बताया कि आप कोई भी टॉपिक्स अगर कुछ भी अगर आपको समझ में आता है नहीं आता, आप घर पे जाने के बाद एक बार रिवाइज करें विद इन सेकेंड्स। जैसे क्लास ओवर होता है, क्लास ओवर होने के बाद तुरंत या स्कूल से जाने के बाद तुरंत रिवाइज करें।
राइट सर, राइट।
90% जो चांस है आपको 90% याद होने के चांसेस रहेंगे, सिर्फ 10% आप भूल सकते हो। तो इस कंडीशंस में बच्चे का जो क्राइटेरिया होता है इवन ई लर्निंग के लिए, तो ई लर्निंग के लिए बेसिकली जो है जस्ट लाइक इसमें टेक्नोलॉजीज के लिए अगर आप देखा जाए तो एड टेक is a billion-dollar industries, but there is a much to consider for teachers seeking to incorporate emerging technology into their curriculum. For example, some experts remain concerned about the effects of too much screen time on students.
Right, Vinay sir. So maybe we'll take up the next things further or on it. Moupali ma'am, I would like to have comments from you on this.
Thank you so much, sir. A very good afternoon to all of you. Very good afternoon to all of you. And thank you so much, Sachin, for giving an opportunity, because this is a topic which is really having its effectiveness at this present scenario, because more or less everybody is discussing about it and trying to figure out the situation that is going to catch us next. But time has tested a lot, and we are really fortunate that with time, as we were moving ahead, we have made the difference in the society. We created a difference in the mind of our students, our next generation. And of course, the best part was we all were co-learners, as Madam Arti has also spoken the same thing. We all were learning throughout, and we did the changes, and we could do it at a level where we feel fortunate that, of course, if the situation stands like that, we may be able to sustain ourselves in this condition. And the best part, that we have created ourselves into hybrid classroom. It has given a free learning condition to our children. No doubt children are going to make a most use of it because they are not stressed. In case, because this is right now the situation is somewhere we are mostly moving ahead with the hybrid classes. Everybody has not reported back to school, even if we have started. So then also children find it that where everybody enjoys and you can enjoy the class, they are part of it, they are taking part, they are not ignoring. At time with the higher sections, we do feel that the attendance is coming to its own extinct level because of various competitive examination. But at least with this emerging condition where we struggled, we found that children are finding their way how to become more and more part of it. I appreciate because we all learn. As a principal, I'm not an IT person. I am a very, very hardcore kind of a teacher who really learn. We struggle, we train our teachers and try to transform the thought process. We are regularly counseling them because it is a thought that need to be changed. Now, when we speak about experiential learning, many thought came into mind that how we are going to sustain with our condition where experiential learning is concerned, and where teacher is going to perform, the child is going to perform. But with time, we were already doing it. We were trying with the Quizling, we were trying with the dragon dictation for the youngsters also. So many apps were there, so many tools were there. And beautifully, when we were teaching and training our children, our parents and our teachers, we together were doing it, and they were fun in doing it. And I feel in the coming days also, as Corps learning, that learning styles, concrete learning, Corps actually speaks about these all methodologies where reflective observation is there, abstract conceptualization is also considered. I think these all component is going to bring out the thing. And as CBSE has also enforced O-labs. So the experiential learning has taken a different shape where we are utilizing edu tools. Educational practices are right now a fusion of technology and the educational device, where we are only facilitating and enhancing the learning. Because we are no longer going to teach them inside the classroom. It has taken a lot of space which is covering with the energy. Energy is flowing very fast right now because children are dependent on technology, and technology doesn't give you the time that was being taken inside the classroom. We all need to be pre-planned. We need to be actually spacing out ourselves where children are going to enjoy. Everybody is observing, so we are over conscious also. That's how I believe we have developed ourselves. We have upgraded ourselves. It is right now what we are moving is the integration of advanced educational tools, which are really enabling us for more engagement. When we talk about experiential learning, we basically look how we are going to engage online. But through these tools, I believe we are including them very, very effectively. And there is a personalized learning experience also from students' end, because they are performing, they are interacting, they are creating something. We talk about aptitude, we talk about problem solving sessions, we talk about the skill development. The time has tested us and everybody has developed that. Only we need to acknowledge, we need to enhance, we'll have to accept the time. And if we flow with it, nothing like that in past 2 years, I believe we all have reached the place where in past 8 years, we were struggling. Past 8 years also, we were struggling with the technology. It was hard for our teachers also, 100% to come up to that level. But these past 2 years really taught us, and we reached a place where nothing is so impossible for us. A little more effort is going to make a lot of difference. And I would like to spot out few things that, as ma'am has also mentioned, that for making the classroom very, very successful, where the strategies can work, we have already implemented it very successfully. Of course, a STEM classroom we all talk about, but what is the STEM classroom? A lot of trainings are required at remote areas also, so that everybody can understand. I actually appreciate Amity University for conducting such kind of discussion, which are really required. We need to have the open platform where we can discuss with each other, we can learn from each other, and we can try to implement also. When we listen, when we understand, we try our skills on hand, and definitely we implement also. We are an AR, that is the augmented reality and the virtual reality, along with voice platform, can create a wonderful platform and strategy inside the classroom for tomorrow. We think about it whether we can do or not. Actually, that is what is required. And if we can, as we have tried our skills on hands with a Google workshop, workspace for educators, that is Spot LMS. That is also helping us beautifully, because this is the somewhere we enhance the learning experiences. And since Google has created, and rather I would say made it first enrolled into AR or VR, releasing a cardboard VR viewer has been very, very helpful. As we were trying ourselves, it has been very, very helpful. And a lot of apps are there which are free of cost. Tools are free of cost. Teachers can beautifully utilize it. Beautiful strategies where each child will take interest inside the classroom. There is no reason when we are talking about something, the device which enhances real world and making a map jump up of a page, it creates a different notion in the mind of a child. At the same time, virtual 3Ds where the world that enhance learning also create difference in the learning strategies inside the classroom. I believe the time is moving in a different way, but it is definitely going to teach us a lot, take us to the arena of 21st century actually, and we may leap into the success where we can really say that yes, our children have learned, because I have seen the progress in the projects they are doing, the thought process they are evolving, they are taking interest in giving suggestions. Beautiful way of interaction has evolved because it is online platforms going on. So they were also voicing out their requirement, their interest, their specific thing that they would like to introduce inside the classroom. And through simple chat by the side, we were also noticing, yes, they are taking interest. It's not only that online has reduced the capacity of learning, online has enhanced the potential of thinking and making things possible in front of us. If we really utilize it, this technology is going to really create a difference in the educational field as well. Long back, we thought about correspondence courses and all. Now this technology has reduced that gap. And I believe we can learn anything sitting anywhere as we are talking to each other across such a long distance, and we are exchanging our views. So in the same way, these OLabs, experiential learning, these tools has really enabled us. It's a beautiful way where we can actually enhance technology and move towards real virtual world where children can make the difference. I think this should be enhanced more. There should be more trainings. There should be more platter of the technologies, whatever knowledge are available. We should all have hands-on skill for that. If principals can have the hands-on skill, the students can also very sooner get the access of it. And I think we all are the one who are going to make the changes. If we can think, we can change the world. Thank you so much.
Very beautifully explained, ma'am. And I agree with your thoughts on the experiential learning. Of course, this is something that is very much required. Nandita, ma'am. Now, having said all is done, yeah. So on that note, do you think this tech prevents analog thinking and the learning aspect which we used to do during the physical classrooms?
Very first, very good evening to all esteemed panelists, and thank you, Mr. Sachin, for giving such a beautiful platform, because this topic is really very much required to have, on talk this topic. So according to me, if means what you have asked, that does this technology prevent analog thinking and all that? So according to me, no, not completely. Why it is so? Because if we see data, then, just 2 decades before, computers in schools were only found in the labs, but now it is in what? It is in the hands of the children. It is everywhere. It is in the every classroom. So the technology has already moved on. We, in this practical and challenging time, we are totally moved towards in K-12 digital learning system. Now, this is actually what the information revolution, which we call, where control no longer comes from the physical and tangible world, but rather than virtual. So if I'm talking about the real example, my teachers, what they really do, they always ask to the students that frame your own content. Because if we are, we tell to our students that, okay, fine, you do Google, you can search on Google, Google, you can, use this technology. They can do, they are doing actually, but the real learning process, the thought process is what this is going stagnant. Are unable to think themselves. So what the thing is that, okay, fine, that the technology which we are, achieving, which we are accepting nowadays is good, but completely making the dependent, making students dependent on this technology is not in a right process. I think so. So yes, this is not completely, according to me, no, we are not gaining too much. Thank you.
Makes sense. In fact, to an extent, this needs a further push. So, Ritu ma'am, would like to have an understanding from you how we can use tech to empower our students to control their own learning. Most of the time, it is more about from teachers to the students, but when it comes to their own self content, as Dr. Nandita was also mentioning, and their self learning pace, how this can be made possible to empower them. Dr. Ritu ma'am.
Thank you, Sachinji, for calling me again into this panel. Well, first of all,
Can't see
I
you.
would like to
Can't see you.
I would like to react to the same as my predecessor was speaking. I feel children have to be taught to use technology in a more responsible manner.
Ma'am, your video
Uh,
is off, I guess. Please
I'm
open.
not too sure.
Yeah, please.
Let
Yeah,
me
yeah,
check.
video is off. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, video is off. Please open it.
Yeah. Is that?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
So I feel children need to be taught how to actually use technology in a more responsible manner. Because firewalls can be put in schools, but I believe discretion is more important to be taught, and they should know what and how much they need to delve into the technology. And copy, paste, and plagiarism is something that should not happen. So when we talk of empowering, this is the first step. And then we talk about empowering children with technology and taking responsibility for their own learning. Yes, amazing things can happen when students are given a choice and control over the pace and the place of their learning. No two students are alike and they don't learn exactly in the same way. And that is why we need to take care of the individual interests and needs of the students. So when a teacher attempts to meet the needs of every student without the support of technology and tools like ours, they inevitably end up teaching to the middle, that is the average group. We do tend to leave out the bright, at the same time some slow learners, and that is why it is important that every learner takes the responsibility. Every learner is dealt with differently, and lessons are planned in such a way that the learner can go to the level that he is actually looking for, and he is able to make his mark and then move on to the next. Students are learning now how to work independently and use technology to explore new concepts. For example, when children are learning a language, now they have an access to a native speaker. We have Skype, we have Hangout, we have a lot of other platforms where children can have, we have a concept of mystery Skype, where the children of this class, they are able to have a Skype call with children in Brazil, maybe, or maybe Spain, and they are able to speak to the native speakers of the language that they're learning. So that not only adds on to their own learning of the language, they also interact and know about the cultures, the schools, the differences that they need to understand and at the same time accept. Secondly, when I'm talking about empowering, I'm very much concerned about the people who are challenged. Since we are a fully inclusive school, we find that technology has somehow brought these children closer to learning needs and the solutions to their learning needs, because now with the click of a button, the whole world is open to them, and they need not wait for their turn in a class, and they need not wait for the attention of the teacher. They are able to learn learn at their own pace. They are able to learn and even respond to the questions, the quizzes, and feel elated about their own results. So the pace has improved. At the same time, the confidence has come in. And that is what we talk about when we talk about empowering. I feel that students' digital and critical thinking skills matter more than teaching them just to how to ace a test. Anybody can clear a test, but these days the skills that are important, we are making resilient children, we are making children very adaptable, and children are ready to brainstorm on any of the world problems. So when we talk about these skills like communication, all these can be taken up individually by the children, and there are so many sites where they can be helped as to how they can put across their solutions and what are the reactions on the social media that come to them, and how they can modify their papers, have their own podcasts, and even have their own blogs and talk about the solutions. This is one way where they can project what they have learned, and this is a very, very important media. There are certain other ideas in which we can empower students, like we can use short videos to introduce the units, and many great resources are available. And you can also create your own video to introduce a topic, but allow students to make these videos. Creating their own videos is a very great way to empower students. Allowing them to demonstrate their understanding, maybe in the junior classes with what they have learned, is a great way of empowerment. And they are the ones who are able to introduce peer learning in such a manner. We can also allow students to create infographics. Infographics are great tools that can be used to creatively display data, sequence of events, maybe propose multiple solutions. And also some great tools like infographics include, we must have all heard about Pico chart, easel, and then Canva, which is used very, very frequently these days. We can also
Right.
allow students to use digital storytelling. It's a tool which is very, very powerful, and it can help the child to share his thoughts and ideas. Instead of a standard written paragraph, pen and paper story, or a poster board, allow the students to share the information digitally. Some great tools for digital storytelling are like we have used Flipgram and Storyboard. These are wonderful tools to be used. And all of these are really great ways to implement technology and to empower students. They are very easy, they are very engaging, and you will find them very pleasantly engaged, and you'll be surprised how the children are involved into this learning, and at the same time, how they grow, how they bloom, and how they blossom. With so many new technologies claiming to revolutionize learning, I am a great, strong supporter of AI, machine learning, VR, and AR apps for everything. It can be a struggle to know what to focus on. Yes, that sometimes is mind boggling. But for me, the focus has to be on empowering the children, and they must take the responsibility of their own learning, and they must chart their own path to that. So something like we have a let me talk about a chart that we have made for our school. We do a lot of self reflection, self editing, peer reviewing, and also empowering the students by giving them exposure in the augmented reality and virtual reality labs. History is a lesson which we do not really, most of the children do not really enjoy unless the teacher is able to take them visually to the past. So here I feel the VR and the AV labs are an amazing, amazing resource. And once the children take those on, they don't want to release, and they do not want to come out of that lesson. So that is again empowering them, and they know how much to take on. And I think what we can do in a 40-minute class with this technology and with this empowerment, the child does it for 2 hours and he is a lifelong learner. So I am very positively, I talk about empowering children, because yes, technology is something which is moving the child and the teacher away from each other.
Very nice.
I do second that. But I do feel while we are shaking hands with technology, it's also important that we get into the heart and the soul of the learner. Then technology will never ever disrupt any kind of a relationship or any kind of bonding that we have created with the children. Thank you.
Completely agree with your thoughts, ma'am. And I think this is the way forward to have the more engaging conversation with the students. I would like to have my further discussions with Arti and Moupali, ma'am. Arti, ma'am, with you, how can we can then compensate experiential learning when we know now it is all digital? So your thoughts on it?
Yeah, thank you so much. This topic is something which is very, very close to my heart. And I remember when the schools closed down, this was the question in everybody's mind. How do we give them, how to give them, the children, this experience which we used to earlier give in the classrooms? So basically, as we all understand experiential learning, a concept given by David Hall, it is the process of learning through experiences, and it's more narrowly defined as learning through reflections on doing. What the child does, we first he gets a concrete experience, he reflects on this. There is an abstract concept that the child forms in his mind, and then there is active experimentation that follows. So my advice to all my teachers were that the real experience that the child gets of touching an object and getting enthused with it can be, it is difficult to replace that. So I told my teachers to ask the children to use their kitchens as their powerful laboratories, because the mother's kitchen for a child is a reservoir of so many colors and so many different kinds of tools as well as natural resources which could be used in various ways, whether the child teacher is taking mathematics, science, or any other class. And another big thing was the garden, whether it's in the balcony or it's an outside area, there are so many various things that the teachers could pick up. Other than this, the experiential learning, now we are going more towards e-learning, especially when the time when now from complete e-learning, we are moved to the blended model. Some of us move back to the classrooms, but it is important for all of us to remember that digital media simulations are a great way to enhance the experiential learning exercise, because digital media simulations, they immerse the students, in a complete authentic manner, and they photorealistic settings they provide with interactive video characters. So within the each self-paced synchronous episode, the students encounter poignant teachable moments, which reinforces the key objectives and learning outcomes, and which require them to apply knowledge. Therefore, various class lectures, readings, discussions, or even the virtual mentors that the students have, they are able to provide them digital simulations. Now, immersive learning simulations, they are specifically designed to give students repeated practice making decision in contextually complex situations. So each of the lecture or discussion or the visiting speakers, they can be very, very inspiring for a child. So the digital media examples such as audios, videos, digital publishing information, the photographs, the holograms, the social media, advertising, broadcast, interactive media, the immersive experiences, the 3D experiences, the virtual reality, augmented reality, digital art, as some of my fellow colleagues have already mentioned, these are all immersive learning experiences, and they are good experiences through which the child gets motivated. So the combination of a cognitive stimuli, what you see and hear, so some of your senses get engaged, and the virtual elements you interact with during your immersion, and the ability to segment them is practically helpful when learning a new skill. So virtual reality headsets, as you must have seen, they completely take over your vision to give you the impression that you are somewhere else. And when the headset turns on, however, the LCD or other panels, they are refracted by the lenses to give you the real experience, as well as the augmented reality devices, which could be any, such as Microsoft HoloLens or various enterprise lens, smart glasses. They are transparent, and they make you feel that everything in front of you as if you're wearing a big pair of sunglasses, but you have the impact. So VR replaces reality, that is virtual reality. It replaces the reality. I know when some of our children, they're taken for virtual picnics to London or Singapore or to US, they are able to visualize beautifully. So it definitely adds to adding to their imagination. I personally feel that digital media simulations, they provide children with a host of learning experiences. Some of them could be like personalized experience, the child and the instrument and the experience. They could be multimodal, because learning in this way enables the students to employ multiple models of learning. And of course, learning by doing. The child is doing, performing an act which engaging all his senses. The virtual internships, simulations are giving to children these internship real-time kind of experience, and the plug and play, they plug in and they are able to at times play very effectively. Therefore, some of the online simulation examples I would like to share. Most importantly, it is GeoGebra, which some of our teachers are using in their classrooms. There are also OLabs as advocated by the CBSE. We have great debating going on the one of the Microsoft tool called Flipgrids, where we record their expressions and send them forward. Then there are pendulum labs, where the changing variables and measure changes on the behavior of a swinging pendulum can be seen. There are projectile labs, there are skydiving labs, there are fight gears, as well as simulation game download sites from where teachers could really collect the content which they require for a particular lesson. Other than this, there are various simulations for interviews. You have to believe it, they are really good, because you have a real-time experience of the panel sitting in front of you. So the children in our school who go in for their council or board interviews, they get to practice through these simulations, and I have seen their confidence go up. There are also simulations for business programs, like various case studies. Like our children, what they have done, they have recorded famous incidents in the form of case studies, like videos, and these case studies are used in the classrooms for further reflection. So these children have now become reflective practitioners. They are able to actually collect their thoughts and pinpoint their experiences. Therefore, the creation of videos on Adobe Spark is helping them to create new knowledge on everyday basis. So I would like to say that this truly immersing students, in contextually challenging situations, bringing them closer to the real life or with diverse occupational setting is the answer, to giving them experiential experiences. In the end, I would just say that we all are trying in our schools to create ethical leaders, aren't we? I would like to end it by saying that the famous quote, "Sue and act," SEW, sue and act, reap a habit, sue a habit, reach a character, sue a character, or reach a destiny. So suing is important. The experience remains important. E-learning or real learning experiences remain important component in today's classroom. Thank you.
That's very wonderful. And the concept of kitchen and gardening, I can now truly relate to. Molly ma'am, I think you can please mute.
No, I think Arti ma'am has compiled everything where we need not to put focus on other, because these are the things which has actually taken a place, and children find it in a new way. since they're utilizing and the guidelines are given by the teachers, as teachers are the co-learners along with them, they're enjoying it in their own way. So the dearth of not coming exactly to the classroom, with the advent of all these technologies, children are not finding it so difficult because they are getting their own space where they are questioning themselves. They are also as important as the classroom and the teachers, sometimes suggesting also that we can go, they are exploring, they are coming up with certain solution. I believe ma'am has already compiled everything, nothing more to be focusing on these all topics, because most of us are trying our testing ourselves, trying ourselves and moving ahead, are elated with the various technologies if they are new one coming to us, especially the ARs are enterprising enough because that is giving energy to us. I believe more or less we all are trying, and if it gets implemented, I mean, the time will actually tell us that experiential learning, what we were doing, it is slowly getting replaced, and better versions through AI is coming into existence. Even children are creating. The apps are being developed by them. They are taking interest. They are taking interest how the practicals can be converted in those ways. So that's the best part, where we are able to influence our young minds who are going to create the difference for tomorrow. And the last line that ma'am quoted, I liked it. Really, Arti ma'am, I liked it. Sachin sir, is over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you to my esteemed panelist. Just got to know about Dr. Nandita. I think there's some mishappening in the school. Some teacher fell down and she had to leave. But anyways, we have come to an end to our panel discussion. And with the concluding note, maybe in one line, I would like to understand from each of my panelists over there that what is your now technology integration plan, seeing now COVID is been there and moving on. What is the one-step solution now you are thinking forward for child development? One line answer. Starting with maybe Arti ma'am with you, then Moupali ma'am, and then Ritu ma'am.
All right. Yeah. So what is going to be the plan ahead? Definitely, it's a million-dollar question. We would like to go hybrid, definitely. Use the technology as much as we can, but only as a tool for various simulation experiences. The personalized experiences inside the classroom with the teacher must continue so that we are able to focus on EI, which is so important, the emotional component of a child's development, as well as the social skill development, is extremely important apart from the cognitive component, as well as the physical training. So I think the advent of technology and the way our entire system has got now fine-tuned, we are going to go ahead with hybrid, and all the use that we have made of technology, we are not going to let go. We're going to use it as much as possible, but with the balance, so that our EI component and our social skills continue to help our children to grow into holistic learners.
Perfect. Moupali ma'am, your comments.
Definitely the same, because we have already faced, we were struggling last year, but since again we could see that the times are going to be somewhat like that. So maybe we will be continuing definitely with the hybrid. And as we have already learned how to carry forward the things together, along with the classroom as well as online, giving them a skills on hand with all the information. So it is now not the competency that we are working on refining the quality and reaching our children in a beautiful way, where children would love to see our teachers also, and they are enjoying the technology. This is a beautiful blend where I have seen my children coming up with it, where they want the teachers also to incorporate themselves and they want to create something. So hybrid classroom will continue in across the country. I mean, in coming days also for a couple of more months or maybe the year long, and it can enhance the learning capacity also, where we keep nurturing our children, because the academic level cannot be kept aside. That will go side by side. Nurturing a mind is to develop the ability to think, to create, or to bring a difference. But the basics cannot be eroded at any given point of time. Whatever comes our way, Classroom teaching or a teacher's presence cannot be compensated anywhere in this country. So even if we go to the computer age or robot age, still I believe there is a requirement of a human brain, human emotion, which will stay forever with the mind of school, teacher and students in the coming days also. This is what I would like to say. Definitely go with hybrid because it's a demand of the time. Time demands and we fulfill the requirements. We have enhanced. We have accelerated ourselves. We are reaching that arena. We have created the difference in the mind of parents, students. It was a difficult time in front of society. We created the difference as a warrior. I would like to quote, teachers were real warriors during this complete pandemic. Although, regardless to say, because we are teaching our children, we are nurturing our students, we are trying to make a difference in their life because we were keeping them totally positive during this time also. But academic level is also very, very important where the child is going to step into their professional life. They cannot be left unnurtured. So definitely we will go ahead with the hybrid class with our teacher's skill and technological support.
Very nice. Very nice. So Ritu ma'am, your final comments.
Sachinji, first of all, thank you for inviting us to this elite panel. It was a great experience. I would like to say that teachers who have been real warriors, I think they need to be applauded and appreciated by everybody, including the entire society, the three poles that come together, parents, the children, and the teachers. We have together grown, we have learned, and we have actually become better. Better in using technology, better in the bonding that we had. And we have also been taking up the role of parenting because we have seen parents sitting for their classes and asking for tips as to how to keep the children engaged. So yes, hybrid model, I go for it. I feel it is the best of both the worlds because there is a teacher-student connect, and at the same time, the technology has been integrated beautifully. And since our resources are recorded, all the resources are available for anytime, anywhere learning. E-library is available 24 hours. The child can log in and read. And we do projects together, experiential projects also, keeping the home as a resource. Very small children do patterning, sorting, helping their moms to sort out white clothes for the washing machine. Even that small learning or counting the steps while coming down and collecting the worms outside, insects, and putting them in the bug box and drawing them and sharing the picture, coloring them. The whole family is involved when there's a tree plantation or there's a virtual birthday celebration. So rather than cribbing, we teach resilience, as I said. We take everything very positively and we create that positivity, and the IQ and the EQ and the SQ all are important, and teachers are making a difference and they are creating the good human beings. Obviously, these human beings are going to be more experienced, they'll carry better memories, they'll tell better stories to their own children when they grow up, and they'll be stronger and better, and definitely they'll do better in life. So I think we must give this credit to the teachers for making such a huge difference to the society when the whole world is reeling under the pressure of COVID-19. Thank you.
Very perfectly said. And with this, we have come to an end to our panel discussion. It was a hot welcome from
Sachinji,
our.
if you allow me, there is a question in the Q&A.
And
could I take that up?
Just a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they have not written the name. It's about how education technology can contribute to the poor state of society. I think maybe we can have a quick comments from you and Will from our other panelists as well.
Well, I was talking about peer education and being a school in a vicinity where there are a lot of rural children around. We have adopted about 3 to 4 schools where they do not have this technology integrated in their system. So our children they go and they take up the classes. This is one of their projects when they take their own projects, their own videos of the lessons that they have learned, and they share with their peer group. And we also send tablets from the library, and this virtual experience is great fun. At the same time, a lot of learning happens, and both ways. It happens both from those children as well as the students of my school, and they come back very enriched and very empowered, and they feel very good about this project. So this
Great.
is how we are trying to make a difference. Thank you.
Very nice. Arti ma'am, your comments on this question?
Yeah, definitely. I think Rituji has already covered it. But reaching out to the poor strata of society, there are so many ways that technology can come to the rescue. Most importantly, some of our students, like we have Amitasha, that is the benevolent effort of our chairperson, Dr. Mrs. Amita Chauhan, wherein girls, uniquely the girls, right from their kindergarten years, right up their grade 12, are provided free education post school hours. So these children stay back and they take classes for them. So not only are they creating videos to help out these children learn better, but they're also taking online classes for them. So I think this kind of peer, helping out and offering and volunteering for other, children who are not having as many, who are not as blessed as the others are, is something which is very much integrated in Amity's ideology. We have Amity Humanity Foundation itself, right from Amity Universe. We are all working in this direction. So each and every child, right from grade 9 upwards, is trained in this manner to help out. And especially during the pandemic, the students had made the help out groups to reach out to the masses and provide them oxygen and bed facility. So this kind of a culture, which is very much there in Amity, has helped them not only to provide virtual e-support, but also by creating YouTube videos and taking online classes for the children who are lesser fortunate. And I think this endeavor is too less. But however, it is an endeavor which will continue. COVID or no COVID, we have been working in this direction, and this endeavor is going to take us, I think, to evolve such children who think about a bigger prospect they have in their mind to reach out to masses. So
Very nice.
I
Very
think this will continue.
Moupali ma'am?
Yeah. So far, the poor strata are concerned. Definitely, if the school runs, everybody has a policy that we adopt. We send our children, we send our group of teachers. But of course, I believe one thing that has happened, that pandemic, the physical presence wasn't there. What we could only help out is we helped out our teachers, those who are not equipped with a lot of information, those who are not having access even to Diksha portal also. We tried our level best to share the lesson plans and all, so that that can reach them. They can also equally teach. This is what our school has done actually. And we could reach them through various ways where not economically, but at least socially and academically, they can support it out. We can, of course, develop certain strategies in the coming days. We think about share and care and all in various other ways also. It is being done. Things are being done in a very, very positive ways. If we have the helping hands at our home and in the surrounding, they are all being supported. In our school also, the people who are associated, they are being supported. But of course, in the society, a group strata is there where no one is able to reach during the pandemic, which is a fact. We can only reach when the groups, as ma'am was mentioning it, the groups, if they can compile, combine and take the initiative, of course, so many educational organizations will come up to support those groups also, because if the time doesn't support us physically supporting them, then we'll have to develop a new strategy for positively reaching. We at our school, we are all reaching. But when we are talking about the poor strata, the strategies are not working in its complete structure. There's a reason to think about it. There is, of course, a very good question, I must say, because truly saying 100% we are not. Inside our classrooms, inside our school, we have completely reached our each and every child, I must say. But in the society where the strata is still remain untouched, we need to yet give our heart and soul so that that is also covered through the educational aspect.
Very nice.
I believe it is something that we all need to think about it, rethink it. And the most probably Mr. Sachin is going to create some other platform where he will be discussing about all those things. And if we can listen to it, we can also learn something from each other and implement it for tomorrow.
For sure, ma'am. And the Amity Academic Leadership Forum for K-12 schools has been built up for the same only. And with this, we have come to an end to our panel discussion from recorded lectures to experiential learning, character building to sustainability component. And Arti ma'am, this would be our next topic of the discussion. For the further panel discussion, I would like to discuss with the schools and the universities how this is to bring up for India, because as our Honorable Prime Minister has also been mentioning about carbon-free India and so on, would definitely will take up this topic with the school fraternity to discuss more about it. Going to kitchens and a garden, something that I could see now, understand that why my son is more going to the kitchen and has just started loving the gardens must be the inspiration from the teacher that has got from the principals and the teachers like you. Digital simulations and the virtual picnics was something amazing to learn for. And the last but not the least, it's about EQ, SQ, IQ, and so on, and building resilience. Education technology can be only a supporting tool, but end of the day, it is the teacher, it is the student who can together have the transformation with the support of technology. I think that's the conclusion that we have taken up from the panel discussion. And with this, thank you so much to my esteemed panelists, Arti ma'am, Moupali ma'am, Ritu ma'am, for being with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.